Let me set the record straight. I never would have imagined myself being in the position I am in right now. Writing, recording videos, running a business. I never would have expected this of myself under any circumstance. I know those lines are cheesy and not entirely honest. After all, a lot of people's origin stories are carefully crafted and make it sound like entrepreneurship was something they stumbled into. But for me, I mean it genuinely. I studied accounting for 7 years of my life, believing that this was where I'd go in life, even if I didn't particularly enjoy it. Since I didn't think I was fit to be a bookkeeper, I'd be putting effort into getting a job at the Canada Revenue Agency. That, or be some tax accountant for a firm. It's obvious that entrepreneurship wasn't for me at all because of the sheer fact I suck at marketing and selling myself. I still get nervous about those kinds of things despite dedicating nearly 10 years to this. Even when I took entrepreneurship courses in university, I had this feeling of dread picturing myself as an entrepreneur. So, why the hell am I still doing this? Well, for one, network marketing steered me to invest in myself, and while I'm still a bit nervous, I am getting better at it. I am been posting like a madman on Blue Sky on a regular basis, engaging with people, providing my own kind of posts here and there. I've learned what my sales style is, and I lean into that, especially since it doesn't feel scummy or sleazy or manipulative to me. I just tell people what I honestly believe in. And even though it's taken this long to get to where I am and faced several mistakes and problems, part of me is still thankful I ended up where I am right now. For one, I can tell the people who sell entrepreneurship like it's some kind of dream to go screw themselves because that's a lie. It certainly has its good and exciting moments for sure, but it can also have you face tough decisions that can make or break your business. Businesses have constantly new problems that they have to address. They need regular attention, and they expect you to address them. The reason I bring this all up is that our lives work in a similar manner. We are reminded about our shortcomings and flaws just as we're reminded about our business. We've got pressing problems looming over us to address, and they happen every single day, especially these days. Some are brutal and devastating, and we can't address directly. Other ones are minute and can be non-issues. These aspects are both blessings and curses. On one end, we are never truly bored of ourselves. But at the same time, it also gives us a reason to be relentlessly productive, to keep making adjustments, find new problems, and fix them. Whether it's ourselves or a business, many people have exploited this fact about our humanity, and businesses have made a point of profiting from it. From productivity tools, courses, or general hustle culture, there are so many elements that give us this distinction that we need to crave more from ourselves in some fashion and to keep going no matter what. It convinces us that enlightenment and peak human performance is at the bottom of this hole that we're digging for ourselves. It convinces us that anything other than what we're currently doing is a waste of our time. And as persuasive as that can be, honestly, wasting our time is a thing we should actually be doing a lot more of these days. To me, it's better for us to question whether this is our fate or not. And it's especially a good time to consider that right now. Setting aside the myriad of problems that generative AI brings, it honestly felt like we were stepping into Jetsons level of technology when it was first introduced. Here is a tool that, on the surface, can dramatically reduce the time certain tasks take. For writers, this is a way for us to quickly put out drafts to existing topics. We'll have to make some adjustments, but a bulk of the writing is done for the most part thanks to this technology. Beyond that, working alongside a robot feels better than fear-mongering that robots are taking over our jobs. But obviously, we didn't get any of that.
Duh.
Instead, AI has created more busy work for most people. It's actually hindered people's productivity and uses up a lot of water and energy to make a single image. It's another lie that pushes us towards the one thing that everyone has been crying out loud for. You need to keep working. You need to keep hustling.
Work, work. Work, work.
But today, I want to ask whether we really need to do something like that. Because after running my business for several years and being in self-help during that time, I'm more inclined to think we've created this mindset for ourselves on behest of other people. It, like so many others, is a regressive mindset that doesn't benefit you, but rather the people above you pushing you to do so. It's to the point, I believe, that the people pushing us to work long and hard hours is more projection and forcing their expectations onto you than actual advice. I know that deep down, hustling for more than 40 hours a week does nothing for us, and that we genuinely need this sacred work-life balance that we're all striving for. But the solution isn't to be working more hours to someday make enough money that you can just live the good life for 20 or so years and retire comfortably. Rather, it's being able to waste our time sometimes while still working and doing the most important tasks first. And to prove that point, here are some specific reasons why we should be focusing more on wasting our time rather than spending it hyper-fixated on productivity 24/7. But before we delve into any of that, I want to welcome people to this channel. If this is your first time watching any of these videos, hello, my name is Eric. I do a lot of self-help kind of stuff, and I ramble on for way too long about some of these topics, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. And of course, it would really mean a lot to me if you left a like on this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I also have a Patreon page where I share my articles that I write, and occasionally I sometimes post the links to these videos as well on there for people to check them out too. So give me a follow on there, and if you feel especially generous, then consider pledging and helping me continue doing more of these kinds of things, as I'm slowly getting back into the swing of things since I have been kind of inconsistent with all of this stuff. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get back into what I want to be talking about with wasting time. Reason number one, you'll piss off rich CEOs. To begin, it's worth looking at who is telling whom to be working so much. In this case, a lot of the advocates for hard, gritty work are rich CEOs, hustle bros, and wealthy self-help gurus. These individuals often position themselves as people who have earned their wealth and have backstories of working hard and putting their nose to the grindstone and all of that good stuff. They talk about the sleepless nights that they've had with ideas buzzing around in their heads. We often place these individuals on pedestals and proclaim these individuals are productivity masterminds. These are the people that we really should be emulating every single day and adopt work philosophies around. But it's worth asking, is all of that really true?
You sit on a throne of lies.
we are so quick to take people at their word that we forget about context surrounding people's lives or their claims. We are quick to forget that the wealthiest people in the world received massive financial backing in their rags to riches stories that they share. We forget that Jeff Bezos' own father kickstarted Amazon for him because he married into money.
Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
There was no amount of work that was really required of him aside from calling up his dad and asking for a small loan of $1 million. Then there is the productivity prodigy Elon Musk, whose only survival of his companies is on the backs of government. My point in all of this is that when it comes to hustling hard, the amount of work that they're actually doing isn't as big as they say that it is. And for those who actually made it, probably have some details that they are conveniently omitting in their stories.
Liar!
I agree with the overall sentiment that we should be working on a regular basis on our businesses and keeping them floating that way. Work also just gives us a sense of purpose. It gives us something to do. It gives us meaning to an extent, and that has value for us, especially if what we're doing is really good and benefits other people around us. But we should be skeptical towards those who want us to work all of the time. Because by not following what they're saying, you're more likely to piss them off or bother them. And that, to me, is a good thing. For a long time, the various systems that we have built are broken. You have CEOs encourage people to fall in love with their work and to work hard, and yet they claim massive bonuses year after year. This has been so consistent that now the regular CEO of any big company that you can think of is making 246 times more than the average employee.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I get that CEOs are really important people and are necessary for the function of a business, but I'm calling bullshit that a CEO is working 246 times harder than the regular average employee. And for them to encourage this kind of work ethic is more self-serving and manipulative rather than helpful.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
It's the same idea as a wealthy self-help guru offering a course on boosting productivity. A lot of productivity tools and methods are easily available if you're looking for them and are free, or at the very least, do not cost you tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars every single year or month. Going against this advice ultimately results in these same people getting pissed off, in some sense. Angry because you didn't fall for their trap. Angry because many of these rich people can't handle criticism or rejection. Or at the very least, this is kind of like the mental imagery that you can picture for yourself, and that could provide some sense of satisfaction. And this is just the start. Reason number 2, you'll put your mind more at ease. The problem with thinking we need to be constantly working is that we get into our heads that we need to be constantly busy. Part of that is the hustle culture. But also deep down, we like to do things. It's why self-help is so popular these days, because we love the idea of hobbies becoming side hustles. We love the idea of optimizing ourselves or being better people in general. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. But at the same time, we essentially get in our minds that we can't afford to be wasting time and to be a normal human being. We either need to be adulting and being responsible and productive members of the society, or working at our jobs.
Work, work. Work, work.
Our life in the work-life balance is addressing the other adulting things in our life, paying bills, cleaning the house, and maybe hanging out with friends just as a treat or doing some other kind of social event. The idea of sitting back and lounging is something that is somehow earned when we reach some kind of foreseeable top or satisfaction. When we're making millions of dollars or are an executive at the company we're working at. That, or again, seeing it as some kind of treat that we get after spending the rest of the day working. The only issue with all of that is that it piles on a lot of stress for ourselves. That, and it makes our lives very routine and predictable, and eventually we get tired of those kinds of things.
What? This is boring.
There's nothing wrong with seeking meaning, but when there is an endless amount of work to do both in our lives and in a workplace or a side hustle, you eventually hit a point where the work itself drags on. That, or you're not really getting ahead and with whatever it is that you want to be doing in your life. You essentially give your life over to work, letting work dictate how your day is going to go and what you have to do that day. There's never a day where you wake up and do whatever you want.
Today I don't feel like doing anything.
And truly feel like. It feels more like you're running in a hamster wheel than actually doing something productive. Wasting time in our lives shouldn't be spent pretending to be busy. Genuine wasting our time actually makes us more relaxed and puts our minds at ease. Getting into this idea that this is good for us will actually be a great source of stress relief and reprieve that we need and deserve. And having days or periods of wasting time gives us this distressor and control back in our lives that is desperately needed these days. Reason number 3, you'll have better work sessions. On top of the stress relief that you will experience, another reason to be wasting time doing something else is that you'll have better work sessions altogether. Learning to truly let go of expectations and that kind of pressure changes our perception of work and what it means to be productive over time. And that perspective change can be a game changer for a lot of us. There is a long and documented history of working less hours is better for us than working those incredibly long hours that Elon Musk proposes that we do. There's studies too that show that working 4 days is better for us and the businesses themselves too. A good example of working less hours is better is Charles Dickens. The famed author historically spent 5 hours per day working and wrote many great books during his time. Meanwhile, compare that to Musk and his 80-plus hour work weeks, and not only are more people getting into accidents in his self-driving cars, but has been making announcements and delays on when are we going to be seeing self-driving cars. He's been doing this constantly. It's almost like he's making all of this stuff up and he creates really bad products, even though he continuously pushes this idea that you need to be working just as hard as Elon.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
When you allow yourself the time and opportunity to waste your time, you're building yourself up to really focus and get more out of the times that you do work. Reason number 4, you'll simply feel better about yourself. My final reason for why you want to be wasting more time is for the sheer fact that you'll feel better about yourself for doing this. As I've been saying and suggesting throughout this entire video, wasting our time is what makes us human. It helps us unwind, refocus, relax, and give ourselves permission to be human beings. Going back to the Jetsons, I would love to live in a world where we don't have to work as much or as hard. But the other is that we'll have more time to do what we actually want to do, without any worry about whether we'll be able to live our lives or not. We'll be able to delve into passion projects that we've never thought we'd be getting around to. We'll be able to take in the company of another person. We'll be able to build bonds, understand ourselves better, and grow.
Yes! That's awesome!
We'll be able to truly experience the depths that life has to offer us when we allow ourselves to waste time. When we worry so much about being optimized and thriving in our fast-paced society, we begin to lose ourselves. Speed reading is a good skill, but if you speed read every single book, you truly don't get a chance to process what the author is trying to tell you.
But what does that have to do with anything?
No. He's got a point.
If you're watching a movie or listening to a podcast with it sped up, you're not able to fully digest and process what is going on or what is being said. If you zoom through life trying to optimize every part of your life along the way, you truly miss out on what it means to be human.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
It's a life that I don't really want nor wish for others to have. But the beauty about all of that is that abandoning that mindset is easier on paper. It all begins with wasting time, truly. To sit back, take your time, and to do less. To not buy into the hustle culture or whatever some other hustle bro has to tell you. To simply relax and do less, you'll find yourself doing much better when you let that happen. And that is all that I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video and listening to me ramble on about wasting time. If you like this video, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to go and leave a like on this video and also to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. With that, I'll see you guys later.